Good evening. A government spending watchdog says HS2 is over budget and behind schedule. The National Audit Office says its complexity and risk were underestimated by those in charge and that it's impossible to estimate what the final cost will be. They also say a full service on the network could be delayed until 2040.
ITV News Central has been speaking to one property investor who's accused the company of fraud and two former HS2 employees, one of whom says he was dismissed after warning of the spiralling costs. This exclusive report from Andy Bevan.
I just start with a blank sheet of paper and I just want the data. Give me the facts.
Transport Secretary Grant Shapps on his first day in the job last July. He just ordered a review into the feasibility of HS2 from an independent panel led by Douglas Oakervie, a former chairman of HS2. Oakervie's report is due out in the next few weeks, but a leak suggests the full cost of HS2 could be at least £107 billion, almost twice its original budget. Many say that figure will come as no surprise to senior figures in this building. Transport experts have said it's been known for years that costs were out of control, but the warning signs, even within the walls of HS2, were ignored. Lieutenant Colonel Andrew Bruce is a senior engineer with over 30 years of global experience in managing large projects for the military and the private sector. He joined HS2's Land and Property Department in October 2015 as head of planning and began to examine a list of 11,500 properties that would need to be compulsorily purchased to make way for the Phase 1 line between Birmingham and London. He says HS2 had asked a consultancy firm to form a simple, broad-brush list of land plots, but HS2 then used that list as a record of real valuations.
There were schools, businesses, entire streets, which, according to the valuation I was seeing, was £550, and many, £1, £2, £3 for a property. It was clearly incorrect. There was something had very drastically gone wrong with this estimate.
There's no suggestion of any wrongdoing by the consultancy firm, but when Andrew calculated more realistic figures, the total property cost estimate was £4.8 billion. HS2 had agreed with the Department for Transport a budget of £2.8 billion. Any increase would have raised eyebrows in Parliament and could have stalled the passage of the high-speed rail hybrid bill or even killed the project entirely. Andrew Bruce says half an hour before he was due to reveal his new figures to a board meeting which included the DfT, he was, he says, dismissed and told to leave the building immediately.
I felt at the time I was being fired, so that I couldn't give my figures and they couldn't be minuted, and the Department for Transport would be not allowed to see them. Say it's going to cost less and the benefits are going to be higher, you get permission. Later on, when that proves not to be true, just say, well, we've gone so far, we can't stop now, we've got to carry on.
MPs were eventually given a figure of £2.8 billion and voted it through. A National Audit Office investigation into HS2 in September 2018 said that at the time Parliament didn't require HS2 to update and improve its estimate. It also investigated Andrew Bruce's allegations and cleared HS2 of any wrongdoing. HS2 told ITV News it doesn't recognise Andrew Bruce's version of events. A discussion about his figures was not on the agenda for the meeting, and it had already decided to redo its property cost estimate when he left the company. Some of the compulsorily purchased properties on the Phase 1 route were substantial. 4 office blocks directly outside Euston Station were owned by billionaire property investor Michael Gross. He had plans to develop the area before the idea of a north-south high-speed railway was born, but he was forced to sell in 2017 to make way for the capital's HS2 terminal. He claims he was paid at least £500 million below the true value of the office blocks and is now taking legal action against HS2, not only, he says, for himself, but on behalf of the thousands of ordinary people who've lost homes and businesses.
When HS2 and the Department of Transport sought legislation which included compulsory purchase powers, they did so on the basis of figures that they knew were false. And therefore the powers to take our property away from us and ruin our lives was obtained by a bunch of civil servants and their creatures by fraud.
Michael Gross, who's a qualified lawyer and a chartered accountant, has several sworn affidavits seen by ITV News from former HS2 employees. One claims he refused to follow an order from a senior HS2 figure to alter vital financial documents in order to conceal undesirable information. Another alleges that all copies of a damning report into one department of HS2 were ordered to be shredded and deleted.
There's no other activity in the field of humanity that would not have been stopped and the people would have been dismissed. So as they didn't want to stop and they didn't want to be dismissed, they covered it up.
HS2 told ITV News it is simply not the case that it has prevented landowners from receiving fair and reasonable compensation. Today's figures from the National Audit Office say that for every £1 spent on HS2, at best the UK will get back £1.40 and at worst just 80 pence, although HS2 says the figures don't capture the full benefit of the project. The Oakervie report on the rail line's feasibility is still yet to be published, but HS2's former Director of Strategy believes that wasn't an independent review, and he says until there is one, all work should be halted.
HS2 is not fit for purpose. It's still got a long way to go on understanding the actual true costs and the true benefits realisation from that. I've seen the response from HS2. They say they're shovel ready now. That, yeah, it's fine. That's going to inject a lot of money into the UK economy. It's going to bolster the UK economy. It's going to produce jobs in the short term, which is a political gain. But in the long term, it's going to be a drain on the economy. It's like taking a mortgage out on a house that you can't afford and then expecting your children to pay for it.
The Department for Transport says it recognises there have been significant underestimations of both the cost and schedule of HS2 in the past, which is why it commissioned the Oakervie review to provide advice on whether and how to proceed with HS2. As for Andrew Bruce, today's NAO report, issued almost 4 years after he was dismissed, says HS2 has paid out almost £3.3 billion for 66% of the properties needed for Phase 1.
If you look at how much it would then cost to buy 100% of the properties, just doing the sums, it comes to about 4.8 billion. It's spot on the figure that I told HS2 back in April 2016, but which they chose not to use.
HS2 told ITV News the allegations made by Andrew Bruce, Michael Gross and Colin Morris are simply not true and predate the current leadership of HS2. It says the cost of HS2, as published in the 2019 Chairman's Stocktake, is the most comprehensive and robust estimate yet produced for the project. If the government decides to proceed, HS2 Limited has a highly skilled team in place ready to build Britain's new state-of-the-art low-carbon railway.
I just start with a blank sheet of paper and I just want the data. Give me the facts.
Some people will insist that is what they were trying to do all along. Andy Bevan, ITV News.